Good afternoon, guys. How are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. It is such a grim day out there. It is raining, it is windy, it is cold, it feels like the middle of winter, and it's just the 14th of September. Where has the sun gone? I mean, I don't want to complain about the weather because we really needed the rain, but I would like the sun to come back now and the rain to ease off a little bit. I think it's meant to get very stormy over the next 24 hours. So it feels like a good day to film this video. And this probably won't go out till the beginning of October. So I'm hoping the weather's improved by then. This video, I really struggled with. Angus is going to be a pain, I can tell. He's bored, but he doesn't want to go outside. So I'm just a climbing frame to him. So you'll see him pop up and down and climb all over me because that's what he does. This video was hard. I found the research really hard on it, and there's quite a few points where I was like, I'm just going to give up. And then I thought, no, I've worked too hard on it. I've got to just keep going. And it's super interesting. You'll have already seen from the thumbnail and title, it is about the first police horses on the beat. And actually, we kind of looked through a little bit of the history of police horses as well. But it was hard work. It wasn't an easy one. But I'm glad I stuck with it. And there's some really interesting stuff in there and stuff I didn't know about. So I hope you will enjoy it too. And it feels very fitting to film this weekend because yesterday there were 2 protests going on in London and we saw the police horses out in action, working on crowd control and doing a fantastic job. They really do. They're very good at their job. And generally speaking, people don't want to get too close to police horses. I mean, the police horses are really quite large, heavyweight horses. So, you're not going to want to get your foot trampled on by one of them or barged out of the way by one of them. So they do an incredible job. I'm sort of 50-50 about seeing police horses on the street. Like, I love seeing them out and about and doing a job, and I think they enjoy their job. But when you see them in things like riots, it breaks my heart because when you see thugs chucking stuff at them, oh, it's just horrific. So I'm sort of 50-50 on whether I think we should use police horses or not, but I do think they do an excellent job. And they've been around for quite some time. So we see the first recorded police horses in 1758. And actually, it was simply 2 horses, and I think they were called pursuers. And they were just helping to catch criminals. It's not until 1763 that we see an actual horse patrol created. And now this was by London Bow Street Horse Patrol by a magistrate called Sir John Fielding, who's actually blind. And he was the magistrate for the Bow Courthouse. And he really wanted to create this patrol to try and help with the highwaymen robbers. Because it was really becoming incredibly dangerous for travellers, especially at night. This was still a very small horse patrol, and actually it was funded by the government, and it really only lasted, I think, just over a year, and then the government took the money away, which was a real shame because they did a brilliant job, and they were very effective. I believe they did do nighttime patrols where they would start at 5 p.m. and finish at midnight, and they would patrol the roads coming in and around London to try and stop these highwaymen robbers. And I think that would have been really spooky. Can you imagine being out in the pitch black on your horse, not knowing kind of who's around? Ooh. The men riding the patrol horses were often nicknamed the Robin Redbreasts because of their scarlet red waistcoats. So they did have a kind of uniform. They had a leather hat, they had their scarlet red waistcoat, they had a sort of blue greatcoat, they wore white gloves. I think they had a leather stock, which is quite an interesting look. They had blue trousers, they had their leather boots, and they would carry a sabre, a pistol, handcuffs, and a truncheon. And they would greet travellers and people on the roads by calling out that they were the Bow Street Patrols. And as I say, they did a really good job. So it was kind of a real shame that the government weren't that enthusiastic about them and they took the funding away. And I imagine the horses that they used would have been pretty lightweight, very fast, very agile, made of strong stuff, but, would need that turn of speed because if you suddenly spotted, something going on with a highwayman robber, you were going to have to get going. So they would have been pretty impressive horses. And then it's not until 1805 that we see another horse patrol set up. And this one's significantly bigger. I think it had around 52 horses. Most of the men were ex-cavalry. And again, they were patrolling roads in and out of London, doing crowd control and, you know, just keeping everyone very orderly. In 1829, the Metropolitan Police was founded, and then in 1836, the Bow Street Patrol was then sort of incorporated into the Metropolitan Police. So then we have the kind of first Metropolitan Mounted Police section. Over the years, we have seen police horses sort of represent our country in massive state affairs, royal weddings, royal funerals. Police horses have been helping out with huge events in this country for hundreds of years. There are many incredible police horses that have served our country well and done exceptional things. But there was one particular which I sort of fell in love with, which was a police horse called Quicksilver, who actually started out as a horse that worked in World War One. So it was purchased in Ireland in 1916, I believe, and brought over to France, where it got some training by the British Army. And then it was given to Colonel Lorry, who was to be its rider for the next 27 years. I love stories like this. And Quicksilver was an unbelievable horse, made of strong stuff. In World War One, this horse served in France, in Belgium, in Germany. It then actually got wounded really badly at the Battle of the Somme, but survived. And then back in the UK, it actually joined the police force. And this horse then went on to serve 17 years in the police force and in Brindley, still under Colonel Lorry, which I think is such a remarkable story. Not only did this horse go to war, survive being injured, it then went into the police force and did 17 years of duty there, made of strong stuff. And Colonel Lorry actually ended up being the founder of Imber Court Police Training Centre for Horses, which is still running to this day. And Quicksilver and Lorry took part in every major state event. And from reading newspapers online, this horse was quite the celebrity. You know, the public absolutely loved him. And when he finally retired, honestly, I can't tell you how many newspaper articles did an article saying he was retiring. I must have seen 8, 10. It was a big deal that this horse was retiring. And he actually retired to Sir Colonel Lorry's estate in Wiltshire. And when he died, aged 34, he was put down in his favourite paddock there. So from reading all that, you really got that sense of this incredible bond this pair had. Of course, they had been through so much, and the love for this horse. And I think his hoof, I mean, back then they did do this, didn't they? His hoof is somewhere, probably had a silver top put to it, and it is sort of in a cabinet somewhere still to this day. But I just loved the story of this pair. And you can imagine this horse loving every big state event, probably thinking all the crowds were there for him. He sounds like such a character. And as I said, Imber Court is still a police horse training centre to this day. Hopefully I've got a little Google Earth picture so you can see above it what it looks like. And I read online that training police horses can take anything from 6 months to 2 years. I mean, 6 months seems a very short amount of time, but you know, sometimes you just get those horses that can kind of cope with everything and anything and just sort of get on with it. And then there's others that need that little bit more time training. And obviously, you know, these horses have to be incredibly well trained to deal with large crowds, huge amounts of noise. You know, fireworks can be set off. There can be, you know, just the racket when there's like a riot on, bricks being thrown at them and all sorts. And these horses have got to keep their cool. These horses need to be well trained to be able to deal with these very tense situations that they're sometimes put in. And after you watch this video, I recommend having a look on YouTube for police horses, because there's some lovely old training videos. I think I saw some right back to like 1929 or something like that, and it's lovely to see them working the horse, and I have to say they look really good. They look in really good condition, lots of long reining and good groundwork, which I was really impressed to see. And actually I think I was watching a video from 1967, I think it was, and they mentioned on there that they do something like 6 weeks groundwork before they even sat on them, to get them stronger, to get them fitter, to get them working correctly, to kind of take them through things like steps, and to get them understanding lateral work, because when they're dealing with crowd control, they actually need the horses to be able to go sideways sometimes to push the crowd back. I don't know if that's still the case nowadays. I don't know what their training looks like, but it was very interesting to see, and I have to say they were doing a remarkable job. And there used to be a horse show at Imber Court, literally just a police horse show, where they'd have show jumping, they'd have like showing classes, and also like the best trained police horse class. They also used to do tent pegging, an activity ride. There was also something, I'm going to have to look for it because I won't remember what it was called. That was it. Sword lance and revolver competition. I didn't actually know what that was. I probably should have looked that one up. But I don't believe the show is still running. I couldn't find when the last show took place there. Nowadays, we do see like team show jumping competitions at Royal Windsor, and you might see something like the Royal Air Force having a team, maybe the Fire Brigade having a team, and you'll often see the police having a team. But other than that, I couldn't see any other police competitions. So let me know in the comments below if you know of any, or whether there still is a police horse show. We still see the police sometimes show off their activity rides. So I don't know if you've ever been to Olympia, and they used to do, the police horses would perform there, and the riders would like canter over these little jumps and have like fire going over the top of them, and then they'd take their saddles off and they'd be cantering down with their saddles. That was very impressive, I have to say. I don't know if they still do this. I couldn't find out if they'd done that recently. I remember seeing it as a child there. It's very impressive. But I don't know if it's something they still do. Hopefully one of you guys might know. But either way, police horses are incredible. I wonder how much longer we will see them around. As I say, I read an interesting article on Horse and Hound about the fact that, you know, spending cuts and everything meant that it's quite possible that we could be losing quite a few police horses and police horse stables. And there's still something like 7 police stables around London. There's still one on Bow Street. There is still one at Great Scotland Yard. There's still one at Hammersmith. There is still one near Hyde Park. I do have more written down somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. There's still quite a few dotted around. I love seeing them on the streets of London. I think it's good to see them out and about. I just don't enjoy seeing them involved in riots or really heavy clashes where they might get injured. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like I say, it was a very broad subject, and I would have loved to have known things like how many police horses there were in 1900. But I couldn't find those facts because I wanted to sort of find out, when did we have the most police horses in this country? But they are a wonderful sight to see. And if you have any extra information, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you again next week.